Hey all my Crimsonites, and welcome to the Crimson Cure channel, where we embrace our femininity, increase our womanly value, and celebrate our brothers. So join me on our feminine journey to learn, heal, and grow.
Things they told me was that he was at the house one night and we were talking, and he started laughing. He said, "Aaron, what do you think women's liberation was about?" And I said, I'm pretty conventional thinking about it.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Things they told me was that he was at the house one night and we were talking, and he started laughing. He said, "Aaron, what do you think women's liberation was about?" And I said, I'm pretty conventional thinking about it at that point. I said, I think it's about women having the right to work, getting equal pay with men, just like they won the right to vote, you know? And he started to laugh. He said, "You're an idiot." And I said, "Why am I an idiot?" He said, let me tell you what that was about. We, the Rockefellers, funded that. We funded women's lib, you know? And we're the ones who got all over the newspapers and television, the Rockefeller Foundation. He says, and you want to know why? He says, there were two primary reasons. And they were, one reason was we couldn't tax half the population before women's lib. And the second reason was, now we get the kids in school at an early age. We can indoctrinate the kids how to think. It breaks up the family. The kids start looking at the state as the family, as the school, as the officials, as their family, not as the parents teaching them. And so those are the two primary reasons for women's lib, which I thought up to that point was a noble thing. You know, when I saw their intentions behind it, where they were coming from when they created it, the thought of it, I saw the evil behind what I thought was a noble venture.
Aaron, did you know that Gloria Steinem, in one of her own books, now admits the CIA funded Miss Magazine?
No, I had no idea about that. No, I never heard that.
Yeah, we're going to.
CIA funded Miss Magazine?
Funded Miss Magazine with the stated goal of taxing women and breaking up the family.
No kidding. I never heard that. Well, Nick told me. I mean, I know it, but not because I know the CIA was involved in it.
Well, Gloria Steinem was proud of it. Oh, the CIA wanted to help women.
No kidding.
So they funded it. Yeah, and of course it's divide and conquer.
Right.
And what they do is they focus in obviously on real problems. Women were getting shafted in many ways, but the elite wasn't planning to help them. They were planning to really shaft them and take men away from them. Look at what they did with black families. You only had about 10% illegitimacy 50 years ago in black communities, and now it's over 90%. And look at welfare. We're going to give you some money, but you can't have a man in the house.
Right.
And so that was further to degrade the family. Totally destroyed. And now illegitimacy is over 50% in the general population.
Percent of our sisters are not married. 29% will never get married. 63% of our brothers are not married. 30% of them will never get married. There is no culture in the history of humankind that has risen to maximize their full human potential without family at the center of their culture. This only exists. This is an interesting but negative statistic. This phenomenon of the existential crisis of our family only exists among African American black people. It does not exist on the continent or anywhere else in the diaspora. So there must be something in the water. We must fix this. It is a lot easier said than done because it is impacting our wealth. Quick statistics. For 350 years, Household median income was dominated by white people. They were number one in this country. They no longer are number one, they're number three, and there's a reason for it. So who has the highest household median wealth in America? It's East Indians, $104,000 a year. What's the marriage rate in the East Indian culture? 94%. Two are working. Who's number two? Chinese Asians. Household median income, $110,000 a year. Marriage rate close to 70%. Number three are white people. Household median income, $88,000 a year. What's the marriage rate? Almost 50%. Down significantly. Number four are Hispanics. Household median income, $61,000 a year. Marriage rate close to 70%. We are at the bottom. Household median income, $55,000 a year. Marriage rate, 34%. And projected based on facts and statistics that if we do not fix this, because white folks ain't fixing this, our marriage rate will be in the low teens in the next 20 years. We must, this is an enormous challenge. That's a whole talk by itself on how do we fix it. It can be fixed, but we have to, first of all, understand that this is a problem. No one's talking about this problem. This is a huge problem. It's the number one problem in our culture. So we must fix it.
Oh.
Victorian era, and men used to treat women with an extreme amount of deference because the generations living then remembered a time when the world was a lot more difficult than people now remember it being. So the physical inequality between men and women was emphasized because the world was a much more difficult place. Men took a paternalistic and patriarchal view on how women should be treated, and women wanted men to take that. They wanted to be safe. They wanted to be provided for. They wanted to make sure that children were safe. And men did what they could. Now, men have won. They, the fact we've got airplanes flying overhead and the fact that we're not about to be invaded is the victory of Western man. Then, for some reason, women decided, okay, well, I'm not afraid anymore. I want what you have. You don't do the things that we do, so you can't have what we have. But men just want women to be happy. They want them to love them. They want their approval. And so if gaining women's approval means pretending women are equal to men or, saying this, that, and the other, whatever it is, they'll do it. And it's completely taken men off of the throne that they sat on. This throne was never imposed by authority, actually. It's imposed by consent. And the second women withdrew their consent for the man to be on that throne, the throne collapses and the men are just standing around going, okay, well, I guess I'll just play video games and drink beer all day and smoke weed. And if you don't need me, I won't do anything. Because that's really the whole raison d'etre of being a man, just be needed by someone else. And it's always been women. You can go back to
are real people feminists are just women who hate men, which is ridiculous because my dad's a man. How could I hate men? Our real beef is with something called patriarchy, the rule of society by men and fathers. So let's get smarter in seconds about feminism and clear up a few misconceptions. Feminism, as defined by Bell Hooks, is a movement to end sexism, sexist exploitation, and oppression. That sexist oppression is typically maintained and justified by patriarchy. So yes, feminists do hate patriarchy. Patriarchy is the reason that there are laws regulating women and our bodies in all 50 states and no states that have laws about the bodies of non-transgender men. And the reason why so many women's rights achievements are so recent. Patriarchy is also the reason that the United States has not published the Equal Rights Amendment, which would ban discrimination based on sex and gender. Can you think of an example of patriarchy? Let me know in the comments below. Basically, with feminism, the idea is that all people are inherently equal regardless of their gender. And feminism seeks to address the fact that our laws, policies, society, and culture don't reflect that equality. Feminism is not a war on stay-at-home moms or people who wear makeup. It's a war on the societal expectations that these things define our womanhood. But it's also a war on the expectation that not crying and doing CrossFit are what define your manhood. Feminism is about personal freedoms. It's about fighting for a world where you define you and society respects who you are. There are many different types of feminism, and some types that use the word feminism, but because of how exclusionary they are, aren't feminism at all. People who exclude transgender, non-binary, and gender expansive people while calling themselves feminists are lying, and I'll tell you why. Feminism is all about the end to sexist exploitation, which automatically benefits everyone and should therefore include everyone. And because feminism is against oppression, it can't be feminism if you're perpetuating oppression at the same time. For feminists who want to be clear that we're real feminists and our feminism includes everyone, we may refer to ourselves as intersectional feminists, based on intersectionality theory coined by Dr. Kimberly Crenshaw in 1989. Intersectional feminism recognizes that people are multifaceted and that systems of oppression overlap and affect us simultaneously. So a Black disabled woman would need a feminist movement that was anti-racist and anti-ableist. When it comes to systems of oppression, you can either benefit from them through privilege or be harmed by them through oppression. Like how men benefit from patriarchy. And yes, men will lose power as patriarchy is toppled and dismantled, but they'll benefit in the long run, especially if they care about equality and an end to sexist oppression. And it's for that reason that people conflate the hatred of men with the hatred of patriarchy and the fight against it, but they are two different things.
Smarter in seconds.
You've probably heard
I took you through all of those in that particular order to go from the beginning of why feminism was invented to the end of where it landed everybody. I gave you those videos in order on purpose, in that order on purpose. Because the end video that I gave you is the version of this that women bought into. The beginning clip that I showed you was its purpose, which didn't sound at all like what that woman explained, did it? The clip with Alex Jones and Aaron Russo speaking, and Aaron saying what the Rockefeller told him about the purpose of funding, the purpose of facilitating feminism and women's liberation movement had nothing to do with liberating any women. Nothing. It had everything to do with being a destabilization tactic and a way to tax the other part of the society, which was adult women. Then I showed you proof of that with the other man who was speaking about basically the obsolescence and the virtual extinction of Black people via the extinction of their families. And he didn't say it was feminism, but it was because of feminism. It was because of feminism that we got to a place where we are not getting married and don't care to. And because we are not getting married, we preach against it at every turn. We have come to a place where we cannot rightfully call ourselves a Black community, because a community depends upon its individual family units in order to come together to create a community. A community is not just people who happen to look like one another, who may happen to live around each other. Communities are built by families, nuclear and extended families. Those families come together to create a community. A community is defined by its shared value system and its shared culture. We no longer have that. And the crux of the matter is feminism, which boils down to white survivalism. I keep telling y'all that's what feminism is. But it was worse in many ways than good old barefaced racism. Feminism was worse. The advent and the proliferation and the mutation of feminism, the metastasizing of the cancer of feminism was worse to us than chattel slavery. It was worse. Because we came out of chattel slavery with a value system. We came out of chattel slavery with a family system. We came out of chattel slavery galvanized against a known enemy and known sets of tactics. Feminism is worse than chattel slavery. It's worse than the redlining, the Jim Crow, and all of that. Because with all of those hindrances, all of those aspects of a system that was designed to crush us, we understood what it was. We understood what it was. And we understood that together was the only way to survive it. The other reason why feminism was worse is because feminism was insidious and redlining and Jim Crow was not. It was obvious. Feminism was inconspicuous. Inconspicuous. Insidious, having a gradual and cumulative effect, developing so gradually as to be well established before becoming apparent, awaiting a chance to entrap, harmful but enticing. That is insidious. Okay. That is the meaning of insidious. Having a gradual and cumulative effect, to be subtle. To be subtle. Developing so gradually as to be well established before becoming apparent. Awaiting a chance to entrap. Harmful, but enticing. That alone is what made feminism more dangerous than any other tool used against us. Because we could not detect its long-term effect. We could not detect it. We did not detect that adopting such a mindset would ultimately end up in less than a century, threatening the very existence of the so-called Black American community. Did not know that that was going to be the end game. The only thing that was ever considered or thought about was the temporary and short-term so-called benefit and so-called freedom. So when it was introduced, when the concept of feminism was introduced in the mid to late 1800s, had nothing to do with Black women at all. Everything to do with white women. What's ironic is that the girl that was just talking about how feminism is against the patriarchy, the irony of that is that feminism was introduced and allowed by that very patriarchy. It was the patriarchy that did it. It was introduced by the men at the top of that pyramid, the 1%. It was those men. They're the pinnacle of what a feminist would call the patriarchy. They are the pinnacle of it. Men running and creating a system to nearly their exclusive benefit and to the detriment of others. Without empathy, only black and white, only the bottom line. It was the exact patriarchy. It was the patriarchy that they be talking about they fighting, that introduced all of these isms and oppressions and all of that. They're the ones that created that. They're the same ones that had the oppression and the racism and the sexism, but that they created all of those isms, all of them created by the same group of men that created and benefited from a patriarchy. Feminism came from them. They sat together and was like, you know what? Yeah, let's destabilize. Yeah. The only reason that white men of today say anything about feminism is because it has gotten out of hand for them too. See, they fell from number 1 to like number 3 or 4 on the list that the man was talking about marital status and wealth. That's the only reason they talk about it. And the only reason, if you think back to that stat that he said the Hispanic marriage rate was higher than the white marriage rate, but the white annual earning was higher than the Hispanic. We know why that's so, right? It was the only two things that kind of was a little bit discrepancy, but not really, because by and large, the Hispanics take the lower wage jobs and things of that nature, not very high skill. It makes sense that the East Indian would have the highest marriage rate, but also the highest wealth, because when they come here, they become engineers, IT people. They go for the high skill, high pay careers. And their culture, by and large, is not as affected by American feminism and culture. Because they still marry at a high rate. And within that marrying at a high rate, they maintain their core culture and the core values associated with that culture. It makes sense that the Chinese Asian is also right behind them. Since white people the one perpetuated feminism in the first place, it stands to reason why they're being bit by the snake that they set on everybody else. But notice who got the brunt of that. Black people. We can't stand each other. We actively preach that marriage is of no benefit. We should avoid it at all costs. We should avoid children at all costs. We should avoid being together at all costs, while simultaneously complaining about the problems that we have with one another. And by circumventing where that problem originated. We tell each other, don't be with each other. We tell each other that in so many ways. The men say it and the women say it. It's right there, neck and neck. We're the only group of people that think that and also simultaneously believe that we can remain in existence like that. We cannot exist like that. We can't. We are headed towards extinction. That's what this is. That's what this is. And feminism was the main destabilization that took place with us. It was the final straw. It did what the drug epidemic could not do. Both of them, or should I say almost all three of those drug epidemics, the one in the 60s, the one in the 80s, and the one in the 90s. It did what pop culture failed to complete. It did what welfare and no men in the house failed to complete. Feminism went ahead and cut the head off of it. The body was weakened by all of them things, but we did not die. There was always an opportunity for us to come back. Even the prison industrial complex could not kill it. Feminism did, though. Feminism did. Because all of those other attacks were attacks upon the men. But the men do not control the next generation of their own people. No, generally speaking, within a community, the men don't control the next generation. The women do. It's the women that rear children. It's the women that pass a culture to children and instill in them everything that they're going to use, negatively or positively, within their formative years. So the head got cut off the snake when they said we got to get the women. Like we got to really infect them. We have to give them a cancer that they cannot get rid of. We have to give them a mindset that they cannot shake. We've weakened them. The men are kind of there, kind of not. The male presence in general is not strong enough to ward off what we're gonna do. So now we must infect the women, and infect them they did. See, it wasn't just the marches. Oh no, that's not where the infection took place. The infection took place in the insidious worming in of programming, music, movies, television, the brainwashing, where you could not detect the danger. Small doses of poison. You don't just have a heart attack and go. You get small doses of poison until you realize you've been poisoned and there's no antidote. This is why I say that women, all of us, the men and the women, but we are born into feminism. We're born into the boneyard. All women, lionesses and hyenas alike. We're born. You have to deprogram from the feminism that was instilled in you before you could think. Feminism is not something we as girls pick up a book on while we're conscious of it. Feminism is something that's talked in circles and presented as normal. Feminism is what you want. It's in your favorite show. Feminism is in your favorite song. Feminism is in the talk. It's in the school. It's indoctrinated within the curriculum. It's normalized. It's given to us before we could think about it. What do I mean before we could think about it? Because a 4-year-old can't think about it. A 5-year-old can't think about it. An 8-year-old can't think about it. We're in our formative years. We can't think about it. There is no guard against it before it takes root. We only can deprogram after the fact. It's a deprogram. It's a deprogram. We have to undo it ourselves. Maybe with some help. Mostly that comes within the spiritual realm, because a deprogramming has to come through a spiritual realm, because programming takes place in your spirit. This is where this comes in at. That is why spiritual is number one, because the programming takes place in your spirit. It goes into your subconscious, where there is no guard. The only way we can reach our subconscious place is through the spiritual value. We have to go through the spiritual journey. We got to do it in order to get those things that are rooted in the subconscious that we don't even realize is there and harming us. We don't even realize it. Hold on. So we have to do the spiritual work first. We can't even accurately work on the rest of it without the spiritual value. If the spiritual value has to be worked on simultaneously than other things. So this is why the spiritual value is number one. Because you must uproot the evil that got planted when you didn't even know what that was. After these messages, we'll be right back, because we need you to click the link at the top of the chat, ashkicking.com. Once again, the link is at the top of the chat. If you want to keep your skin looking and feeling in its absolute best, go ahead and click that link. Get you this body butter that you see on the screen. If it's going to be your first order, please take advantage of the 10% discount using the promo code Crimson at checkout. Thank you there. I said it says salute to you. Thank you. Henry said right on, Crimson feminism is definitely part of the problem. Thank you, Uncle Rick said, I just want to commend you on your eyeglass frame game. Your collection is second to none. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Be about peace, and feminism is the right to have 4 husbands. The King said, Ether the mind. Thank you, Damien said, got here a little late, but had to show some love. And thank you, Elder Ben said, absolutely, I appreciate you. Appreciate your support. All of what I outlined is the real crux of the matter. As long as Black women and feminist-minded men uphold a set of ideologies that continue to destroy us, those of us who do not subscribe to it have a very steep uphill battle to climb. This is why I be saying I'm not here to rectify a hyena. I'll go back to the video that I did the other day. It might have been this morning, it might have been the other day. It was the other day, where the lady was saying, y'all stop posting all of this stuff that you putting on social media. It look crazy. It's not what you think it is. You're not doing what you think you're doing. And there was some people that was in the comment section like, nah, we don't like that message either, because she didn't say don't do it. She just said don't post it. Here's what I say to that. Don't post it. She was right. Don't post it. I don't care if you do it. Because a hyena gonna do what a hyena is going to do. Hoes is gonna do what they gonna do. I'm not here to try to stop them from doing it. Stop spreading the evil. Stop. You're not gonna stop doing it, but silence. We don't need you talking anymore. We taking the microphone. Go be a whore in silence. Go be a trifling hyena in silence. We don't need you spreading it. Silence. She was absolutely right. You destroy your own self by yourself. You don't invite people to it. You want to destroy your life? You want to, you want to do this and do that and be misandrous and be behind it? Do it over there. Nobody trying to go over there and hold their hand and make sure they don't do that. Do it over there. Close the door. Close the door. Close the door. Turn the light out. We don't even want to see the light under the door. Turn it out. Whatever you're going to do, make sure you keep on doing it in the dark. Do it in the dark. We don't want to hear it and we don't want to see it. So she was absolutely right. Even if she was saying, do it, but do it quiet. That's the number. Absolutely, I 100% agree with it. If you still gonna do it no matter what, do it over there where nobody can see you, where nobody can hear it, and nobody has to be subjected to what you are doing. Because they get on this internet and they spread evil. And so evil has spread. You get on this internet and glorify breaking your family. So folks done normalize breaking your family. You done got on here and normalize having 10 abortions. So they done got on here and glorify 10 abortions. You done got on here to glorify doing men dirty and drugging them and taking them through child support and taking them through. You done got on here and glorified it. You spread your evil. So now it has spread. So you do it in silence. I know you're silly. Be stupid over there. I'm not even going to try to help you. Be stupid over there. I'm not even going to hold your hand when I tell you this. Go be stupid over there. You want to have 15,000 abortions? Fine. Go over there. Don't tell nobody. Don't you dare open your mouth to tell nobody that that's what you did. If we ain't got the playbook by now, we ain't going to get it. If we don't know what's going on by now, we not going to get it. It should be more than clear at this point. We already know what they are. We know how foolish they are. We need to keep hearing that stupid stuff. Because the young women that don't know nothing, it's a lioness turn 18 every day. She don't need to hear that foolishness. A new message need to be going on. Let the hoes go in obscurity. Let them go into extinction. Let these wayward-minded women go into obsolescence. Let them be obsolete and irrelevant and of no import. They had the microphone too long. We don't need to hear that. It can be fixed. Like the man said, it can be fixed. But it depends on whether or not we want to fix anything. And when I say fix, let me be real clear. I don't mean go get these hyenas to fix them. The men or the women. Leave them where they at. Leave them where they at. I don't advocate nobody to redeem a hyena. Let them be where they at. The only people that can fix it are those who do not subscribe to it. And we're interested in a good value system that is mutually beneficial for everyone. And it really starts with the denouncing of feminism and all of its attachments. Because it has attached to us socially, culturally, biologically, and environmentally. We're politically feminists. What was the party that perpetuated it? Which party? Which party? Thank you. It was the Democratic Party that continued to perpetuate all of those stigmas and isms that destroyed us in the first place. That is why Kamala Harris had Megan Thee Stallion up there twerking. That's why. That's why they was handing out free baby deletions at the DNC. And nobody want to talk about that. Making whole sacrifices, blood sacrifices at the DNC, worshiping Moloch, and nobody want to talk about it. They was proud to say that's what they were doing. They had them trucks out there, and anybody that wanted to get rid of, and i.e. sacrifice their unborn child to that demon that they sits up there and worship. You do realize that the Capitol, the streets and stuff like that is shaped like an owl. And Moloch is an owl god. Y'all realize that? Just look at an aerial view. I gotta find it because it ain't the aerial view of the White House. I think it's the Capitol. It's the Capitol. But I want to find a real good because you'll be able to see the owl. It's an owl. I want y'all to really see it. Can y'all see that? Can y'all see this? This image? I can't really make it bigger. It's an owl. They just outlined it. That's the way the street is shaped. It's an owl. Even when you see it without the outline, it's an owl. And I feel bad because I love owls. This is no disparaging to owls. I think owls are some of the most beautiful predatory birds in existence. I love owls. I don't think that they're bad luck or nothing like that. That I love owls. They just so cute with them big old eyes. It's a whole rabbit hole that I'm not going to go down because it's pretty much time to go. But let me read these super chats. Thank you, Tristan, for your super stick. I appreciate you. Thank you, DBNX. Okay, yeah, I read that. I seen that one. Thank you, Damien said these are casualties of war. Thank you, HVAC, so you can't build a new Jedi Order when you're on the principles of the old. Black people want to save every Black person. It's not the case exactly. It cannot happen. They're going to be left behind. Thank you again, DBNX. Jesus can't save them. Why would I try? Thank you, Quiet Face. I bless you for speaking on practicing principled separation among people. Thank you so much. And thank you, Kisei says it's all about symbolism. People don't understand how symbolism tells a different story underneath the story. When you understand the symbol you're looking at, things become different. There's another popular owl reference that people don't know is an owl. The logo for Mazda is an owl. That is an owl. And look up Ahura Mazda, which is what the car company is named for, Ahura Mazda. Look up who is Ahura Mazda. That insignia, the logo, is an owl. It's an owl. So thank you to Renzo. Say twin as a pentagram hidden within the image, also sacred geometry, not even hidden in plain sight at all. It's not even hidden. If you know what you're looking at, you can see it immediately. There's a reason why there's an obelisk there. You notice how they always still in Egyptian symbology and things of that nature. You always want to whitewash Egypt because they feel like it's a power that they can't tap. It's a whole rabbit hole. I don't know that I'm not even gonna go down the rabbit hole at all. Maybe one day when we have a discussion in Discord, we can go down the rabbit hole for a lot of things, but not today, not on a live stream. Thank you, HVAC. So Order 66 gonna have to happen at this point. So I want to thank you guys for coming through. Like and subscribe. If you made it all the way to the end, you might as well make sure that the subscribe button is hit. Please hit the like button as well. I want to thank you guys for coming and chilling out with me and listening to me. And hopefully I said something that could positively affect you all. So jump down in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Like, share, subscribe to the channel if you have not. Once again, I'm your host, the Crimson Cure, and this was my perspective. Bye-bye, Crimsonites.